Hi Aquarius, welcome to LettiSpeaks. It is nice to be able to speak with you today. Today we're taking a look at the dragon that you are slaying currently. And if you are new, my name is Letty. Welcome. I hope you find a sense of welcoming energy, love, peace, and joy on this channel. And if it is something that you feel is aligning with you personally, feel free to like, share, comment. You can also subscribe as well. Aquarius, if you are returning, welcome back, my Aquarius friends. It's an honor to be able to speak into your life once again. So I don't want to delay the time. Let's get started. And so for your first oracle card, we have in the world, not of the world. And I feel like right now, the dragon that you could be slaying, that's what we're talking about today, Aquarius, has a lot to do with you changing from the inside out. There's something very different about how you're seeing things right now. You outgrowing old thought patterns and old beliefs, old ideas about productivity and grind, right? I'm getting that word specifically, like how you trust and how you live within your own basic fundamental belief systems. I feel like this is changing. And it could also have something to do with abundance as well. And so the dragon that you're slaying has to do with you being open enough to tear down anything that you like, any beliefs, any strongholds, any like security blankets that you could be holding up to cover yourself. And at certain moments in time, this could have been very useful. It could have served as forms of like boundaries, protection, right? But this is a time to allow that to fall away. Spirit is calling many of you to actually surrender, right? And release that grind mentality, right? Imagining yourself like being on a vacation every day, not having to do the grind, the 9 to 5, the pulling of this and pulling of that, and having to feel like you're responsible to make all these things happen. If you just release that, what would that feel like? What would it feel like to soften, your way of life right now? And just to kind of flow with life and to trust, that everything that you need will come through, and what you need to do will be accomplished through that trust. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of what's coming through too, the dragon that you're slaying has a lot to do with, like, for some of you, like a social image that you display, a social face that you have. And it's understanding that there is no need for that where you're going. There's no need for that anymore. Yeah. In many ways, Spirit is saying that those are some of the things that have restricted you along this way in many ways. Holding on to these ideas around what it looks like to be abundant, what that looks like, right? Possibly, as I mentioned earlier, this indication or this idea around grinding, right? And so those are some of the things I feel like are coming up for many of you. This could be energy that you are battling right now and you're trying to climb out and find your way through it. I do feel like I'm talking to Aquariuses who have a very strong presence within their field, within their circle, within their community, and also has a lot of resources. And it almost feels like right now there is a change happening. And a lot of that change has to do with things that you could have been instructed, things that could have been taught to you, things that you may have learned somewhere along the way, things that could be even part of the status quo. I feel this thwart against that kind of like this rebellion against the social construct, right? Because you are rising up in your own power through your own ideas and discovering what actually works for you. You may find that actually never did work, right? And so at some point you could find yourself, or maybe you already have, right, really in a difficult spot, right? Getting to the place where you almost feel like at some point you did hit like a rock bottom, and you're finding yourself having to weave between all of these things that present some level of opposition, or even danger to your well-being. You're having to weave through that, and being the very resourceful, very powerful, very strategic energy that you are, Aquarius. You're doing just that, and so right now I feel the energy of kind of pulling all of your resources, pulling together all of your support that you have, right, as you are moving forward and making this transition. I don't feel like you're doing it alone. I feel like you have lots of resources and support around you. You could even be someone who has a position over people. This feels a lot like being someone who is very skilled and talented, and you translate your talents and giftings over to others. It feels like it's someone who actually takes a great deal of care for those around them, and you take a part in translating what it is that you have onto others through that love that you have for them. But all in all, I feel like one of the dragons that you're slaying is around transitioning and raising yourself up out of the status quo. There's something very beautiful happening on the inside, mentally, spiritually, and it's almost like you're rising up out of the clay, the myrrh, out of the darkness, and proclaiming your truth as you have gathered through your experiences. What you have experienced up until now, you may in fact look and see how much that has not been what it is that you truly want. And so there's something very, very drastic that's changing about you. The next card is Hold Your Center. Okay, and I feel like part of what you're slaying, this particular dragon with you, Aquarius, you're in a position right now where you have been doing a whole lot. And that may include in service to others, doing more than necessary, bending backwards, going out of your way, trying to prove a point, trying to prove your sincerity, and trying to prove things to others about your value and your worth. It just feels like doing a lot of going above and beyond what's necessary. And in doing that, possibly being disappointed when it's not reciprocated. And part of this, I feel like for some of you, it really does feel like the night of the dark night of the soul type of energy. Lots of energy, like feeling a lot like what's the worst that can happen, and that exact thing happening. It's fearful energy, possibly being up in your head, having things. And for some of you, this is relationships, close relationships that you have that has actually turned out to be like your worst nightmare, But I feel like you have a level of power in this that you may not even realize that you have. And Spirit is saying the key to you conquering this challenge, this test, even for some of you, like I said, it may very much feel like the dark night of the soul, where, you're being confronted with all of this shadow energy. Your worst fears are coming true. And your power in all of this, Aquarius, is to confront it, right? Is to confront it head on and acknowledge, your truth in it. Acknowledge how you play a part in it. Acknowledge what it is and not try to run from it. I feel like there is a very strong energy that you carry that you may not even be aware of, right? You have a power within you to actually create the circumstances that you desire. Yes, even in this situation as it pertains to others, you carry that level of influence and power. You have those tools. I feel like I'm talking to someone that's good with people. So Spirit is saying that, this is something that that you don't need to be afraid of. Just go through it. Go through it. Look at it as a sharpening process, right? Iron sharpening iron. And you actually, as you're going through, finding out, like, what am I learning through this, right? That's how I like to look at things. I ask that question when it feels difficult and heavy. Okay, we're doing this. What am I learning? What am I supposed to pull away from this? Because God knows I don't want to repeat it. So please make this clear so I can get the lesson and move forward, right? And I do feel like it has a lot to do with relationships for you, Aquarius. And it's almost like there is you could possibly have someone that you're close to that could be giving you good advice, giving you a different perspective on how to look at this, and giving you kind of advice on the way out of this. Someone wise. But I do feel like it's difficult. I feel like there's been a lot of disappointment with this. Nevertheless, right? This is something that is actually, remember how all things work, right? We'll look back at these struggles and these difficulties and we'll be able to see like what came out of that and how it actually played a part in pushing us forward many times, or helping us to step into who we've always been meant to be. And so this is a time, I feel like Spirit is saying with the hold your center, like this is a time where you need to really just be in your authenticity, be in your power, and understand that there is not actually anything that you're doing wrong. This feels a lot like just a process. It's one of the lessons that were assigned to you on your path. And so the best way through is to understand your power, understand that, yeah, you can't control other people, but you have all the control that you need within yourself, you know, through what it is that you can do. And that's all you're being asked to do, Aquarius. And so I feel like this has a lot to do also with lessons around ego as well. And so, yeah, that's the other part of this dragon that you're slaying. It could have, you know, something to do with just a difficult point that you've hit in life as it pertains to your connections or a connection, right? And your fear, your worst fears, you know, as it pertains to other things in life could possibly be showing up for you to really just stand and confront them. And the only way to really work through is to go through. There's no way around it. There's no way under, no way over. You know, the only way to resolve that thing is to go through it. And so this is a difficult point, I feel like, in life. I know it's not easy, but I do feel like there's a way that you can work through the issues, right? Through love, right? Through courage, standing up. We did have the Seven of Wands on this side. That's spiritual courage, like digging deep. And it may have a lot to do with reestablishing your balance as well. And so let's see what other advice Spirit has for you, Aquarius. And I'm just hearing again, stand in your power. You know, it's not so much as important, you know, focusing in on what others are doing. It's more important that the focus be on you and what you're choosing to do, okay? In the world, but not of it, right? You're here, but you're not really part of what's happening here. I feel like you're being lifted to a high level of existence and frequency. Well, I can say the opportunity is here to be lifted, okay? Again, it's always a choice to take the higher road, okay? So what other advice do we have? All right, I'm going to take these. So I have the Sun, the Eight of Wands, the Three of Wands, the Death, and the Knight of Swords. Listen, there's no better way to say that, right? What's coming is going to be greater than anything else that has been. That's what I feel here with the Sun and the Eight of Wands and the Three of Wands. That means what's coming is going to be ultimately better than anything that has been thus far, right? But it is through this process that you're going through, this transformation, this ego death, right? That you'll eventually be able to rise up like the phoenix out of the fire. Now, every time the phoenix rises out of the fire, he rises stronger, brighter, higher. He rises higher, more resilient, right? Better than he went in. And that's true for us too. Every time we rise up out of the fire, every time we choose to get back up, we get back up on a whole different scale, on a whole different level. right? And so the Knight of Swords, move forward, right? And you'll understand further along in the future. You'll understand by and by, right? The Knight of Swords, clarity is coming as you continue just to move through this, okay? All right, Aquarius. It might be difficult now, but you're going to be so happy that you didn't give up later, okay? That's for you, Aquarius. This dragon that you're slaying is, I feel like it's mostly about, it feels like kind of like an ego death, right? It could have a lot to do with the things that you once held important, the people that you once held more important, but you're rising up out of that. You're rising up out of the status quo. There's a transformation happening for you, Aquarius, that's going to set you apart, okay? So that's for you. Thank you for stopping by. Again, my name is Letty, and the page is LettiSpeaks. If you're new and you are in alignment, you feel like you're in alignment with the energy here, if you would consider liking, sharing, commenting, even subscribing. If you do, go ahead and hit the bell so you're notified when a new video posts or if I go live. If you're returning, give me some love and I appreciate it. All right, until next time, my Aquarius friends, stand in your power, okay? Bye.